Okay, let's dive right into this explainer. Welcome, focused learners. I'm Pushkar Katiwada, your test instructor at Grace International down in Bertamode, Nepal. We specialize in IELTS and PTE preparation, along with comprehensive study abroad guidance. Now today, we're tackling something I know keeps a lot of you up at night, one of the most notoriously frustrating sections of the entire PTE reading module. Yep, the fill-in-the-blanks drag and drop task. If you've been struggling with this one, if you're just feeling totally stuck or overwhelmed, trust me, you are absolutely in the right place. So why is this specific task just so tricky? I mean, you've likely stared at the screen, completely overwhelmed by that blue box full of options, wondering why it feels literally impossible. It feels like this massive, high-stakes vocabulary test, right? You see all those words, and bam, the panic of vocabulary overload just instantly sets in. Look, as an instructor, I see students freeze up here every single week. Imagine you're in the exam room, the clock's ticking, and you feel like you needed to memorize a whole dictionary just to survive. But here's a little secret I share with all my students. Mastering this, it's not about knowing every single word in the English language. No way. Today, I'm going to hand you a clear, tactical masterclass framework to solve this strategically, zero panic required. Here's our cognitive roadmap for the day. We've organized all that chaos into a clean, easy-to-follow curriculum. We'll be hitting anatomy and scoring, the step-by-step arc, grammar clues, collocations, smart elimination, and finally, the 2-minute rule. All right, let's get into it. Section 1, Anatomy and Scoring. We've got to know the rules of the game. Understanding the scoring structure right off the bat is a major advantage. You get 1 point for each correctly completed blank, and the absolute minimum score is a 0. So what does this actually mean for you? It means partial credit is your absolute best friend. Look, getting 1 word wrong in an 80-word prompt doesn't ruin the whole thing, so you can go ahead and alleviate that anxiety right now. You aren't penalized with negative marks for making a mistake, meaning you should never, under any circumstances, leave a blank empty. Since you know the game is rigged to give you a baseline of 0, not negative numbers, you can guess with total confidence when you're in a pinch. Moving on to Section 2, our step-by-step masterclass. This is the macro strategy. We really need to transform that sheer panic into a totally systematic, chronological process. When the prompt pops up on your screen, whatever you do not just start wildly grabbing words from the blue box, okay? Step 1, take a breath and skim the passage to grasp the overall tone. Is it about some positive scientific breakthrough, a negative historical event, or maybe just a neutral descriptive text? Context is literally everything here. Step 2, closely analyze the words immediately surrounding the blank. These are your anchors. Step 3, actively eliminate the totally incorrect options based on logic, which shrinks your pool of choices down nicely. And finally, Step 4, do a quick mental review of the sentence to check the logic and hit submit. It's a completely systematic flow from the second you read that first word to the moment you click next. Okay, Section 3, the grammar clue. This is all about choosing logic over vocabulary. Now, this is the first major pillar of our tactical toolkit. We're shifting away from trying to memorize the entire dictionary and instead using grammatical structures as a literal cheat code. It's all about spatial reasoning, you guys. You have to look immediately before and after the blank. Specifically, look about 3 words back to spot any articles or prepositions that might set up the blank. Then, shift your focus and look 3 words ahead to check the flow. Your biggest clues? They're hidden right next to those empty spaces. Honestly, if you're only staring at the blank itself, you're entirely missing the instructions the sentence is trying to hand you. Let's break down a few of these essential grammatical clues that practically hand-deliver the correct part of speech to you. Think about it for a sec. If you see an a or an right before the blank, what are you hunting for? Right, a singular countable noun. That narrows down that daunting blue box instantly. Or, if the blank follows the word the, and your options end in ed or en, you might actually be looking for an adjective modifying a later noun. Prepositional clues are also massive. Words like to, of, in, or for strongly suggest a noun, a gerund, or a base form verb is coming up. And here is a real game changer. Pay close attention to time markers. Spotting words like yesterday, in the past, or by 2050 instantly dictates whether you need a past, present, or future tense verb. Just by scanning for these little guys, you can eliminate half the wrong answers before you even fully understand the sentence. Bringing us to Section 4, collocations, or, as I like to call it, harnessing word partners. So, if grammar tells you what kind of word you need, collocations tell you exactly which word it is. English relies heavily on natural, predictable rhythms and fixed phrases. Basically, collocations are just words that frequently and naturally hang out together. Think of phrases like make a decision, take action, or play a crucial role. You wouldn't really say do a decision, right? Even though do and make are kind of similar in meaning, only one actually fits that natural word partnership. The top scorers? They rely heavily on these recognized word partners instead of just guessing blindly. So if you spot the words play a right before a blank, your eyes should immediately dart to the options box, hunting for the word roll. To find these collocations out in the wild, I always teach my students something called the fit sound test. Basically, you just mentally read the sentence aloud in your head. Your brain is surprisingly highly tuned to recognize the natural rhythm of English phrases, even if you couldn't explain the grammar rule behind it if you tried. If you drop a word into a blank and it feels clunky, strange, or just plain awkward to mentally say, it's highly likely you've got the wrong option. You've got to trust your ear to find that natural flow. Actually, a lot of the time, your intuition about what sounds right is literally just your brain recognizing a collocation it's heard 1,000 times before. Let's jump into Section 5, Smart Elimination, Narrowing the Field. Okay, this is where we play defense. The test is going to intentionally give you way more words in that blue box than you actually need. You have to use logical shortcuts to eliminate those pesky decoys. First up, the energy match. If the passage is celebrating a medical triumph, a positive tone, you can instantly cross out negative distractor words like failure or decline. Next, beware of the long word trap. Very often the correct answer is just a standard, neutral academic word. Avoid those highly emotional or overly complex, massive words that the test makers throw in there just to psych you out. Then, keep an eye out for connector pairing. If the sentence shows a contrast, look for words like however or although. Showing a result, look for therefore or consequently. And finally, turn on your repeated word radar. If a specific concept or noun is repeated multiple times in the text, and that exact word is just sitting right there in your options box, yeah, it has a very high probability of being your correct answer. The text is literally handing you the subject on a silver platter. And finally, Section 6, the final polish. This is all about time management and execution. Listen, all those amazing tactical skills we just talked about, they mean absolutely nothing if you fumble the execution. We need to talk about the tech glitch warning. When you find your word, you must click, hold, and drop it firmly into the blank box on your screen. If you drag your mouse too fast, or if you accidentally release the button just a millimeter outside the box, that word is going to snap right back into the options list. If you're rushing and don't notice it happen, you'll end up leaving a blank completely empty and bam, you score 0 for that gap. So always, always double check that every single blank is visually filled with a word before you even think about clicking next. Which brings us to an absolute unbreakable law, the 2-minute rule. Never, ever spend more than 2 minutes on a single drag and drop question. Remember our scoring strategy from earlier? The minimum score is 0. There is absolutely no penalty for guessing. My advice? Solve the easy blinks first. That shrinks your options down and builds some incredible momentum. But the absolute second you hit that 2-minute mark, you must make your best educated guess based on those elimination tactics we covered and just move on. Time management is crucial here. Sacrificing the rest of your reading module just because you got stuck on one stubborn blank is a massive tactical error. Don't do it. So I'm going to leave you with this final provocative thought to chew on. Are you ready to stop guessing and start analyzing? Because by applying these grammar clues, trusting natural collocations, ruthlessly eliminating those decoys, and managing your time like a pro, you can absolutely master this task. Once again, I'm Pushkar Katiwada, your test instructor at Grace International in Burta Mode, Nepal, where we're all about empowering your IELTS, PTE, and study abroad journey. Start practicing these specific tools today, keep that confidence high, and watch your reading score completely transform. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep up the great practice, and I will see you in the next one.